Hiya! So this is a video tutorial to help you get started learning Beauty and the Beast from this book, Playtime Piano Level 1 Disney, arranged by Nancy and Randall Faber. And we are on pages 10 and 11. This is a gorgeous version of the piece from the film, and it's actually a duet as well. So it's so much fun to play either on your own or with somebody else. So I'm going to play the primo part, the main melody part to you now, so that you can hear how it sounds. Then what I'll do is I'll break it down for you into hands separately and talking you through all of the names of the notes and which fingers to use. And then what I'll do is I will play the teacher duet part, which is printed at the bottom of the first page, so that when you're ready, you can then try playing your part along in time with my part. Right then, so before we get started, if you have your music in front of you so that you can follow it along as you're listening, I'm going to play your part for you, okay, so that you can hear how it sounds. Here we go. There we go. Isn't it absolutely gorgeous? Right, let's talk about the right hand first of all. So for the purposes of this video, this is my middle C here. Our right hand is going to start on this note here, the F sharp. And what's really handy is top left on the first page, you've got this diagram, and I will show it to you now. The diagram is here, and what it shows you is your starting hand positions. So do have a look at this. You can see exactly where to position your right hand fingers and your left hand fingers for your sort of starting position in bar one. There will be some hand position changes throughout the piece, but this is how you start. So let's talk about the right hand. As I said, this is middle C. This is our first note, the F sharp above middle C, and we're starting with our second finger in the right hand on that F sharp. Then we move to a G, which is right next door. We're going to play that with a third finger. That's bar one. The next thing you've got to do is shift up to B. So you can see italic writing in bar two, telling us to move our right hand up to the B, and above the B at the start of bar three, there's a circle around the number three, which means that there's been a hand position shift. So we have to play that B with our third finger. Then we've got C, then we've got A, then a B, then a G. Okay, now all five of those notes that I've just played fit really nicely under the fingers. So as long as you start bar three on that B with your third finger and rest one finger over each of the other keys, you'll be good to go for that bar. Now we're going to move on to line two. It starts exactly the same as the whole piece did. So we're going back to our black note, our F sharp, second finger. But this time, can you see there's a number one with a circle around it above the next note, which is a G? That means we're going to be tucking our thumb under. And it says above the number one, turn under. So watch this. There's our F sharp. I'm already moving my thumb under to play that G. Now the reason is that we're going higher in the next bar. That's why we've had to change hand positions. So our next note in the next bar, bar six, is an A. And so we're playing that with a second finger. You can see the number two written above the A there. Bar seven, the next bar, this is basically the same as bar three and bar four, the last half of line one. We've got B, C, A, B, then G. Okay, those are the first two lines. Right then, on to line 3. Your hand should be in the correct position already. Line 3 is really nice because you get to play all the fingers, all of the notes that are under the fingers, and you go up first, and then you go back down, and that's it. Watch this. G, A, B, C, D. And then you do the same, but backwards. Start with your pinky. D, C, B, A, G. Okay, so that's the end of page 1. Let's move on to page 2. So we're starting at bar 13. Our hand is already in the correct position for this entire line, actually. We're starting with a 4 on the C. It's already there, you don't have to move your hand. So we've got C, B, A, G, and then we're going to play a D. And then we play the same as we did in bar 13, we play that in bar 15. So C, B, A, G, and then our last note of this line is an A with the second finger. Okay, now on to the next line, bar 17. This starts exactly the same as at the beginning. Okay, so we've got our F sharp with our second finger, then to a G, and then we're going to be shifting. So this is all, like I said, exactly the same as at the beginning. B, C, A, B, G. The next line, bar 21. Guess what? It's exactly the same. This happens quite a lot with pop songs and sort of familiar songs from films and things. There's a lot of repetition. 2 on the F sharp again. Thumb goes under, so it says turn under, and then we've got our 2 onto the A. The next bit again is exactly the same. B, C, A, G, sorry, B, and then there's a G. Now we're on to the ending. So the ending means that there's some similar notes, some similar rhythms, but it's not exactly the same. So we're starting with a G, then an A. Now we're on to the 4th line on the second page, bar 25. B, A, B, D, then G. Next bar, bar 27, G, and then we're crossing over with the second onto the F sharp, back to the G, then a 3. And then the last line of the piece, we have seen this little bit before in bar 7 and 8. B, C, A, B, G. And then the very last thing you do in the right hand is you play 2 notes at the same time. It's called a chord, and your hand is already there. You don't need to move your hand. You've got a G and a D at the same time, like that. And that's it. Notice I'm not talking about counting or anything at the moment. I just want you to get used to the notes and which fingers to use and which hand does what. So this is just that introductory kind of video. We're going to look at the left hand next. So again, just to remind you, this is my middle C here. The note that you're starting on is the B below, and it's asking us to put our 3rd finger on that B. Rest each of your other fingers, 1 on each key, because you are going to be using your other fingers as well. So we start in bar 1 with a B and then a D. And then in bar 2, we're going to press and hold the C. We're going to hold that for 8 beats, okay? And then the last thing that you do in line 1 is you play a chord. So your finger's already there, you've got B and D at the same time, okay? On to the second line. This starts exactly the same as what you just did at the beginning of line 1. We've got B, D. Now this time in the next bar, bar 6, we're going to play an A with a 4th and then a D with a thumb. Then you're going to play a 3, a B, to finish that line, okay? On to the 3rd line. So we're talking about that upward pattern that we did in the right hand, and then the downward pattern where you play every finger and every note. Again, you don't need to change hand position because your hand is already in the right place. You're going to start with your pinky. It goes like this. G, A, B, C, D. And then you do the same, but going down. Start with your thumb. D, C, B, A, G. Okay, now we're on to the next page, so we're on to bar 14. Your hand is already in position. Actually, in fact, I don't think you have to move your hand at all in this piece, the left hand, so that's quite nice. So bar 14 is a D. for 8 beats. And then having a look at bar 17, this is exactly the same as at the beginning, so I'm not going to repeat that line. And then where it says bar 21, that is all the same as line 2 of page 1. Onto line 4 of page 2, you've got 2 chords. I'm looking at bar 26. So our notes are B and D. And then onto bar 28, you've got A and C. Onto the very last line, thumb onto the D, then a C. Now for our last 2.5 bars, can you see there's a little bracket, an upside down bracket underneath the stave? This means you've got to press your right sustain pedal down as soon as you press your first left hand note and hold that pedal down all the way to the end. So you've got G, B, D. Okay, so it just creates this really nice echo effect. So that's your part broken down hand separately. I'm now going to play the teacher duet part. Okay, so if and when you're ready, you can play this whilst playing your part, and hopefully both parts will fit together. Don't forget, to achieve this, you've got to be able to play hands together to a consistent pulse without stopping. Yeah, so that's the trick. So I'm going to count you in. We have to play at the same time. If one of us goes faster or slower, it's not going to work. But let's see how we get on. This is part of the fun, right? So I'm just getting myself into position. I want you to get yourself into your first hand position. This is the speed that I'm going to do. Okay, so nice and slowly, no rush. So I want you to start tapping your foot now. You start with bar 1 and then I come in bar 2. So please don't worry if you don't hear anything from me whilst you're playing bar 1. Right, I'm going to count us in. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's you first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, how did you get on? Please feel free to leave a comment or send me an email. It would be great to know your thoughts. Take care. See you soon.